Welcome to today's video. My name is Doug Scott. I'm the chief of the Bettendorf Police Department. As you may know, we have a lot of interest into the upcoming vote on November 4th on whether or not the city should pull $27 million in bonds to build a purpose-built police station near the post office at Devil's Glen and Crow Creek. A lot of the information we've been receiving so far is curiosity of why our current conditions don't meet our needs and don't allow us to do all the things that are expected of us. So we thought today that we would take an opportunity to give you a behind the scenes look. It's not the easiest thing to do to get our community into a police department. There's a lot of security concerns and issues that we have to be aware of. It's a workspace for a lot of people, and we don't want to cause a lot of disruption. But today we're going to take a moment, we're going to walk through, and anybody that's at home that is looking for additional information to want to see the conditions that we're currently operating out of, we're going to give that to you. I'd just like to point out a couple highlights here. The department in and of itself just lacks desk space. It just lacks evidence growth storage. It just lacks collaborative space for our teams to work together to solve problems. There's nothing we can really do about that. No real amount of reorganization is going to take care of those things. We don't have a dedicated training room. We can't create one. So we cannot grow up due to infrastructure on the roof. We can't grow out because we're landlocked between City Hall and the fire department. We can't grow rearward because that's the only parking that we have, and the front is our beautiful plaza, and we're not going to be able to move that direction. So that's kind of where we are in things. I look forward to this opportunity to, kind of just show you what's going on here at your police department. So this is the first place that you come when you come to visit the police department. So this is our vestibule. We don't staff the police department internally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So after our daytime support staff goes home, the way you come into the police station and you reach us is you pick up the phone on the wall over here. So this is kind of a secure space. The public comes in, they need to talk to an officer after hours. They pick up the phone. It goes out to the dispatch center that's located on Tremont and Davenport. They notify the officers by radio, and then the officers will come down and meet with the community member that needs assistance. After you come in from our lobby area that you just saw, this is a public space. So as you can see at the one end, we have all of our city finance administration wing, and the other door that you saw at the other end is our fire department. So this space serves the public's ability to come into not only the police department, but as well as the fire department and city administration. One thing I'd like to point out about this is if you turn the other direction here, our bathrooms that we serve the public with are located down here. These are also the same bathrooms that if we have somebody who has been arrested for something, this is the space that we have. So we have to bring them outside of our police department into our bathrooms that are public and have external facing doors. So we lose a security feature from someone who maybe be a danger to society, and we have to be very careful in that. Whereas most police departments in modern days have restroom facilities located inside of their detention area, even though it's only short term, because all of our arrestees end up being processed and booked at the Scott County Jail in Davenport. We still have to have facilities here while we're conducting interviews, investigations, turning people over to say their parents or significant others because they're not going to go to jail that day, etc. This is our records. What I'd say about records is while the space itself serves the purpose, they're disconnected from the department. Again, they're back into this public space, so they have to go through the public space in order to be a part of the department. So just that networking efficiency, ability to interact internally with the department on needs that are faced, there's a little bit of a barrier here that is a result of an addition that was put on, I believe, in 2000 that created this space. So that's one of the issues that comes in here. Okay, so we've gone through the lobby, we've seen records, we're through the public space. Now we're entering into our more of our secure space here into the building. All right, so we'll start with our investigative unit. So we have to come through the lieutenant's office in order to enter the building, or enter the investigative space. His office also stores as our closet for supplies, notebooks, paperwork, pens, pencils, things of that nature. So we have quite a few people out and about at the moment. These are all of our investigative spaces. So these are cubicles that are, each one is assigned currently to a detective. And this is where their workspaces are. Our workspaces are full. They are at capacity. We don't have further growth ability inside of this space to continue to expand our investigative needs. Our administrative assistant's office is at the end here. This used to be our closet for additional storage, but we've now been able to kind of multi-purpose this, and this is now, just a general office space. Unfortunately, it is somewhat detached, again, from the department and from a lot of the services, just creating barriers. So I'll take you back into that hallway from the investigative area of the department and bring you into our interview rooms. A modern day police department typically will have more secure facilities that aren't centrally located in their ability or in their building to conduct their interviews, a little bit more of a private space, additional security. This is just the space that we have. So we have 3 interview rooms. It's not uncommon for us to have situations where we have more people than space. So we end up with people being interviewed or additional investigations being conducted in office space or in hallway space. I'll take you to our third. So this third one is our interview space / intoxilizer room. One of the concerns with the room you just saw is that there's a lot of expensive equipment in there. So if somebody wants to damage something, they have to be basically monitored consistently with somebody in the room. Otherwise, we're going to have damage to a space. So we have to be very choosy if somebody were to be in there and what their frame of mind is. So we're now moving through towards our patrol and administrative services side of the building. So this is supervisor office. This is day shift. So this is our 7 to 5 p.m. Supervisor office. It's occupied. It's one desk, one computer, 3 supervisors share this space. So when one supervisor is in here, the other 2 working that day, they have to use a general multi-purpose area. So it's as you can imagine, it's challenging for them to keep track and lay out paperwork and to efficiently work through their processes. This again is our 2nd and 3rd shift supervisor offices. Again, we have 1 desk for 2nd shift, 1 desk for 3rd shift, 3 supervisors. If it's occupied, the other supervisors have to go find a shared workspace somewhere else to conduct their work. This is a traffic bureau space. This is 2 traffic officers share this space to perform their paperwork and all of their desk duties. So this is what we call like our patrol workstation. So we have 33 patrol officers. They're assigned to this space. This is approximately, I would say, 4-foot wide cubicles. We have 6 of them. Our shift size from day to day averages somewhere between 4 and 7. We have overlap coverage, so we have the potential in the overlap to be somewhere between 8 and 14. So that's how many people are competing to follow up with phone calls, type their reports, follow up on email, do their online trainings, anything that needs to be done in a workspace. These 6 stations is where this work is getting done. This is our evidence processing. So as you can see, you came through the door, workspace is here. We have printers, mailboxes. This is where we process all the evidence for the department on the initial inception of the evidence. So officer seizes evidence out in the community. They bring it here. This is where they're packaging anything from fentanyl, methamphetamine, cocaine, weapons, stolen property, anything of evidentiary value gets processed here on this table and then gets entered into the evidence management system. And then we'll show you later on where it goes into temporary evidence storage. While we're in here, we also have an equipment / break room. Doesn't have anywhere to sit, to have your lunch or do anything like that. But we have, our body camera station. We have a refrigerator. We have a microwave, a coffee maker, a small sink, and then storage supplies. So for your police department, a patrol shift starts. So ours start at 7, 2, and 10 p.m. This is usually where they start the day. So this is kind of what we call our briefing room, but it also doubles as our training room, meeting room, anything like that. We have 9 seats available. We can't get the department in there. We can't get large portions of the department in there. So this is how they start the shift. This is where they get their geographical beat assignments. There has been questions about, are we abandoning the downtown if we were to move up to Devil's Glen and Crow Creek? The answer is no, because the way a police department functions is patrol is dedicated to certain areas. So we'll always have a downtown West End beat car that's always going to be available for calls geographically. That's really not the issue. What it does do by putting us more in the center is it makes it more accessible to the entire public, provides us access to the maintenance center for fuel. They service all of our vehicles. We store supplies, barricades, things of that nature up in that centralized area. It makes it easier to respond to, like when I showed you at the beginning, where we're have somebody come into the lobby instead of the officer who needs to follow up with somebody at the station who's up at TBK, and it takes them 14 minutes to get down here. And instead, they would come down Devil's Glen and could respond much quicker and be much more available to the public in any capacity. Behind the scenes look to the men's locker room. This is where all the officers store their personal bags, change out for clothing, PT equipment, any overflow, things of that nature. Our locker space is pretty much at capacity for the staffing that we have inside the building. It does have 2 showers, 2 stalls, 2 urinals, 3 sinks, but as far as additional ability to add more officers in the future as the city continues to grow, we do not have the capacity to do that. All right, women's locker room. We are slowly filling this up. We have a few vacancies left in the women's locker room, but our staffing of female officers is increasing. We have 2 getting ready to come back from the academy on Friday, April 22nd. And we just continue to increase ranks in that. So we need to make sure we afford everybody, the space that they need to be able to store all their equipment and have access to things that a locker room provides. We have a couple administrative offices. They're pretty standard workspaces, so they meet the needs of what it is. We just don't have extras. So with that, we'll walk back up. We had, roughly 2009, we had the dispatch center. We used to have our own dispatch center, and we consolidated with all area police and fire and medic ambulance in Scott County. And upon doing that, we were able to acquire a little bit more space. This space here was our dispatch center in overflow. This right here is where we process fingerprints should we need to. And then we have some additional storage that's back here and manages like all of our uniform style needs. So this was the actual dispatch center where dispatching occurred. We've now repurposed this. This is our training section of the department. This couples for equipment storage, for firearms, for traffic, for our emergency response unit team, for vehicle fleet maintenance needs that we have, all the patrol vehicles and the equipment that they have should need replaced or updated, overflow, things of that nature. We also repurposed a city table and made this our meeting room. So to collaborate, we'll hold meetings in this area here and then do what we need to do. Unfortunately, if it doesn't include the officers whose workspace this is, we have to either do it while they're trying to do their job or we have to ask them to leave. All right, so we're just walking out of the back of the police station. This is kind of our parking lot. This top row here is where all the fleet vehicles are parked. These are 24/7 vehicles that you'll see out patrolling the street. We have this parking here that's covered primarily to allow for emergency response so that we don't have officers trying to scrape off icy windshields that are buried in snow. And it's also to save all the equipment that's inside. A lot of these vehicles have tens of thousands of dollars of software, hardware, different things in there. And it's just the conditions in Iowa, as we all know, because we all live here, it's hard on your vehicles. And we want to sustain that equipment as long as we can where we don't have problems. It also pulls cars out of service anytime that some of the computer or other equipment inside breaks or doesn't work. So in an effort to try to increase the longevity of all that equipment inside, we've put the covered parking. I'll take you down here. So what we're going to go look at now is you're looking at the back side of the maintenance garage. Well, it used to be the maintenance garage in the 1959. This is now the police department operates out of this space. Before we go inside, I'll show you our gun range. So in the 90s, we had an outdoor gun range at Crow Creek Park by the maintenance center. The city expanded significantly during that time. And in order to try to maintain firearms training here, this was bought. Like I said, it was in the mid-1990s. It's a 32-foot semi-trailer. It's all been hardened on the inside to make sure that bullets don't pass. The concerns that we have now is that it's end of life and it's not, the manufacturer doesn't exist anymore. So we're having to try to find parts to keep it up and running from third-party people that have stockpiles of different pulley systems, electric eyes, things of that nature that it needs to operate. So this is servicing our department. One thing that we've always struggled with is Iowa Law Enforcement Academy, we call it ILEA. They mandate our qualifications annually and the distances we shoot those. Their qualification max distance has to be at least 25 yards. This is 32 feet, so it's substantially shorter than 25 yards. So we've had to rely on our area partners here in the Quad Cities to let us use their ranges in order to accommodate our qualifications annually. So come on in. As you can see, they're working on some different training techniques right now, but this is from front to end of where you can shoot from is 32 feet. It's 3 lanes wide. It does allow us to fire multiple calibers of weapons in here, but we can't get a shift in to train, so it increases training time to run all of the staff through had we have more lanes, and we can't not do the Iowa law enforcement qualification required by law. All right, now we're gonna walk down into what we call like our lower lot and into our garage. Our lower lot's kind of multi-purpose. We have some employee parking. We utilize it for evidence from like vehicles or large items. We also utilize it for some of the just overflow of department necessities like speed trailers and other department vehicles, things of that nature. We have had people cut through the fence. We are next to the train tracks. So I don't know if it's best suited, but it's the situation we're in. This functions as a lot of different things. These 2 bays we utilize from anything from the evidentiary processing of vehicles needing to be processed because they're involved in accidents that led to serious injury or were part of a crime. We bring in department vehicles in here to get worked on. So we have a fleet manager who's responsible for keeping all the electronics and everything up in date. So if there's things he can handle in-house to just keep these vehicles on the street so they can be out doing what they need to be doing, they get worked on in here. If we have overflow communication that needs to occur in the department, we'll use this space so that we have somewhere everybody can stand out of the elements. Whether it's to brief an incident or communicate on whatever it is. All right, so off to the right, we have some storage. This whole table here is primarily our weapons armory cleaning station. So we maintain all of our department firearms here. This back wall, these items that you see, this is a glue chamber that helps identify fingerprints on items. We have, I told you before when we were up top, that's where we do our evidence processing. Well, once it comes down here for the evidence property manager, officers will secure the property inside our lockers. From there, he'll retrieve those items and book them properly into their longer term locations, prepare them to go to the lab, whatever needs to happen with it. All of this is primarily additional evidence storage or firearm storage of some capacity. As you come around the corner here, we have our property room manager, Tim Doty. So this is Tim's workspace. So Tim is detached from the entire department. He's down here in the elements. He's in a very confined and limited space. We're hoping that with the purchase of the new department that we'll be able to get him into the building, into a appropriately modernized office space and evidence storage space. This is his lab. So this is where additional evidence goes to find anything from a defaced serial number to tool markings of a burglary and further. So you see some of the different things that he needs in order to do that. They're pretty well outdated and antiquated. So here's kind of a behind the scenes look at our evidence vault. So all the department evidence, as you can see, is packed to the ceiling. Tim does a great job of organizing and trying to keep track of all of the items that are in here. Has to get them to court, has to get them returned to owners, all kinds of things that he has to do. But we've maxed out this space. In the pursuit of justice, the state legislators Supreme Court has also issued rulings and laws that tell us how long we have to keep certain items, and some items we have to keep forever, and some items we have to keep for 5, 10, 15 years. So as the departments continue to grow, our evidence collection has increased significantly, and the length of time that we have to keep these items. So this garage that we multi-purposed into a evidence storage vault is now at capacity, and we've had to create overflow opportunities in order to do that. So with the new police department, we would build out a modernized system that would help shrink the footprint but provide adequate space and means to store all the items that we're required to store. We maintain all of our kind of armory equipment and extra storage for the emergency response unit along here and up on top of that space. This is our locker room for our emergency response unit to store their equipment should they get activated on like a hostage situation, a barricade, or a high-risk search warrant, or anything else of critical nature that the department would need them to do. Okay, so this is our last stop. This is just overflow equipment storage. We have a little vehicle here so we can jump on bike paths we use for parades, things of that nature. We have all of our traffic cones, barricades, stop signs. We receive a lot of bicycles. Tim recently was able to clean this out. You can see a few hanging in the background. We receive a lot of lost bicycles that we have a hard time getting to the rightful owners. We keep those as long as we can in order to try to get them back, but at some point we need to open up space. So those get stored in here, as well as stop signs, things that we may need to deal with anything that's going on at any given time in the city. So a few of the things you didn't see that modern day police departments and police departments in our own community for other neighboring cities have that we don't have is they have ample collaborative workspaces, meeting rooms of different sizes. They usually have some sort of meeting space with the public that's not necessarily inside the walls of their department. Private rooms at their entryway, so when someone comes in and has a matter that's private and personal to them and they're trying to talk to the law enforcement about it, that they can do that in that way with their privacy intact. You did not see a training room where we can have a large portion of the staff. We can bring in external trainers or internal trainers to provide larger trainings to the department. You did not see like a mat room for defensive tactics, arrest tactic procedures, which we all know are critical. Use of force is a reality of this job, and we want staff, all of our officers, to be as proficient and capable and utilize the best, safest techniques for themselves and the people that unfortunately have to have force used against them in order to effect arrest or stop them from hurting other people. You do not see like a Sally port where we could bring people in a vehicle who are an arrestee and to bring them into the department without allowing them to jump out of the car and run around. You did not see bathrooms for people who are being detained by law enforcement that are secure and inside the department. You did not see a place forensically to deal with all the evidence of cell phones and computers. What you did see was just a lot of other features of the department that are just being maxed out in space. Desk space, maxed out. Locker room space, maxed out. Makeshift meeting rooms. No break room for staff to eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or whenever their work shifts are, or to just decompress for 15 minutes. So yeah, thanks for taking the tour. Hopefully this is insightful.